expecting a little bit more blood, but they decided to actually form a double distro profile and run it back up. So let's take a look at it. So here's your profile today. Sure, this is on 4. Set some intraday levels today. I was looking for a long today at 36.75 or in 36 area. And then I was like, oh man, they just look like they really wanted to dump. They came back here, they encroached, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe they want to. And then they tried again. And you see when they rejected the value area of the prior day, I was like, wow. All right, well, you have this candle here that looks pretty nasty. And then you dipped and they got me here on a short. And then I probably should have flipped here at this point once they're able to hold at 36 and the weekly VWAP and go with it. But I was just not focused enough today. Some personal matters that came up. So
That
let's
was
take a
actually
look.
really a nasty candle.
Oh, I mean, I honestly was like, okay, well, this looks. I mean, there's really not much when you look at this profile to the left of it. I mean, I don't know what you call this profile, to be honest. You know, you have a poor high, and then you don't have a lot of access, and just poor auction all around. And it didn't really have much to hold, at least, to this monthly VWAP, which was about 603 in the value area low. So that's what I was going to target, about 30 points down. And then I got stopped. And I was like, all right, well, call it a day. And then I was able to catch some longs for some and made like $24 on the day, which was pretty impressive.
I was actually long at that candle, and then I was targeting previous week, but they just came all the way back down and stopped me.
Yeah.
It was a nasty, kind of like an FU candle.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest day if you didn't solely rely on, I would say, the technicals, right? The MGIs or market generated information, right? Because the market was telling us one thing here. Once they went below this, I would say developing POC as well as this 36 level that I had based on the distro that was set up on this day. And that's where, aggression really came in last time. So I was like, okay, well, if you guys dip below this, it seems like the seller's still present. And then they put in a lower low, and then they created a ledge here for a couple of days now. So I was like, all right, this might not work out. And I was aware of 31.5 today, pretty aware of it. We can find some buyers, but I guess I wanted something that was not going to happen. So, all right, well, let's take a look at it for tomorrow, right? So, how do you play this tomorrow? Let me hide this candle. So, what is market telling you here, right?
Indecision, poor high, poor low, double distribution, single prints in the middle. Crazy.
Yeah. Right. So I think you nailed all the points, right? So if you look at here, at one point, value was being built right here, right? The value being created here was pretty good. They came into equal lows, and then what happened? Well, they did not have much inventory to sell, so they're like, all right, well, let's auction higher than the E, F, and G period, right? They have some single prints here. So your single prints really start about 64 and then go kind of to 57, right? So I would anticipate that, we want to stick to this, I would say 60, maybe call it 64 level to this zone right here. 64 to about this. They really have to hold in terms of bulls, right? Because this is a clear double distro. So right here, I can kind of make it work. Right? So this is the zone that separates the two, and you can expect buyers, right? So when you're in a trend like you are right now, obviously we are doing what in terms of framing so far on the daily. So we are framing down, right? We have a lower highs, here are lower lows. Then you had this, October value area low. You came here to the bottom, and then you had this massive gap, I would say, on the government opening, right? And today, you're overlapping in terms of value, and you shifted it in the last, I would say, attempt towards the end of the day, right? So we talked about this, right? If they're able to hold about 12, is there a very high chance that we're going to attempt to go all the way to the top to the penthouse, yes, right? So this level, excuse me, this level of 84.25, does anyone have an idea what this is?
Just the POC of that value right there.
Yeah, so if you go all the way down, if you just look at the sell-off POC right here, you will see that that POC is kind of sitting right here. And then I want to do this on ETH, so let me do that. So it's a little bit higher, and look where they rejected it. And it came right to it. I would say they tapped it perfectly. Only if Shorty will put this damn line on. So this is the line that, you know, they really want to get above, and now this is going to be probably problematic for them to get over. I would expect this area to be, that's why I took a little short just moments ago. And they're going to struggle here a little bit because it is initiation of selling from last time. Right, if you look at this, right, they shifted the value twice, right? So you have a little bit of value here, and then you have another set of value here, and from there they're shifting, and now you're basically retesting this node. So that's one of the reasons why I initiated that short, was that we're kind of right to it right now. So for tomorrow, right, if we are able to clear 87, I mean, I would say very high chance don't short this. It might be a boring type of day where it just kind of goes sideways till it reaches this and then spike. That's something you can expect, right? And then if they're not able to, let's say we get a nice rejection here. I'm not sure if there's news overnight, but there are potentials, right? If they struggle tomorrow out of this double distribution. So if they're not able to sustain and hold above this, let's call it, I think this 66 was something else that I was watching here. I think it was, I know what it was. I was marking the bottom of this range today when they were in the 9.5 points range for 4 hours. So it was here, but I would still rely on the 64. If they're able to lose the 64, then there's probably a chance, you know, you go at least to 42, then lose 42, and then we would be targeting somewhere around 18, and ultimately I'll probably think somewhere around 05 would be a good target. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like to be any stopping, right? And that's kind of what we covered on Sunday. If they're able to hold this area, I wouldn't be shocked if they do a massive short squeeze. You know, this is November, you know, they have a month left of Wall Street bonuses that they can collect. So I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of, you know, go here, reclaim it, and then ultimately I think this would be the target that we are after. You know, they do this, and I think this is what they're aiming for. And what better news can you have for year end? Oh, 7,000. Yes, right. SPX is reaching new highs. News start making you feel like you missed something, right? And then all the masses jump in, and then you have an issue. One thing that you guys should do is also take this high to the lows right here and change this to 50%. I meant to do something else. Retracements. And see where we are. And you can see that we are above every critical fib that we're supposed to be in. They rejected it here off of that golden one, the golden zone, and came back to 61.8 and bounced. So all of that is out of the window, right? Now if they reclaim this, I really expect them to run, right? And this right here will be our last chance for, I would say, bears to react, but I doubt it. I think if they can clean up this POC, very high chances we're going 69.80, which was our long-term target, and then ultimately 732 this week. Okay. Any questions today?
Yeah, I have two questions. For the single prints, you would short at the break of the top of those single prints, right? At the 60.
I would ideally, the way I play these single prints is I want to see them fail, because sometimes what they do is this is perfect zone to look below and fail. And they do something like this, right? They lose it, regain it. I would want this to be lost fairly quickly, right? I need the conviction that they're not interested in trading above this too long, you know, and right now they're about 23 points away from this level. So the odds and inventory being super net long, any retest of this is what?
A good long.
Good long, right? And the only time I would look for a short is if you lose this and give me this, then I'll take this as a short from 58. This would just give me a clue that they lost it, and then below 58, I feel pretty confident because then I can manage my stop loss of 6 points and target a gain of whatever this is, 30, about 20 points, right? So that would be a 3-to-1 trade here, and much safer than taking a short here.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I have another question. That
Sure.
level at 87, the black one above there,
Mhm.
you drew a FVP to get that, right?
That's correct. So I drew an FVP just to see for this last, I would say, swing high, swing low. Here. So I'm just looking to see. Let's hide this green stuff.
It's fucking waiting game with Porter. This shit just like pissed off.
If you take a look at this, right? Go from
Because just tell me yes or no. That's the only thing I care about. So I was just talking to Laquita. They're like, "Yo, Mike gave."
So if you take a look at this, right, you have the POC that's cumulative, and I'm just grabbing top to the bottom, right? I'm trying to see where do they accumulate the most, and this is the level where they accumulate the most volume. And from this point, the sell kind of triggered as well. And now you're retesting that high volume node where we sold off from.
Gotcha. Does it not matter how far left you grabbed it from?
Even if you grab it here, I can grab it here as well. Look where we are. You have two nodes that are very identical. So when you look at this, I can grab this up to here, but really you're picking 2 days extra. 1, 2. You're not doing much more than that.
Gotcha.
Hey, Shorty, I have a question. Would you say the spike that they left today and the one the day previous is also an important level?
Yeah, we talked about it, right? So you had the spike, so you want to carry that forward overall, right? And I think today's spike was minimal, if I remember correctly. We'll bring it up.
Yeah. It's like 0.25, I think.
Yeah, it's not a spike for me at least, but typically when I see a spike, right, to me it might not even be on 4 ticks, yeah, for me it's equal highs. But in this case, you did have, I would say, a spike, right? So here's your spike today. You have equal highs unless you're on 1 tick or something like that. But there was a spike that was, I think this spike here is probably worth noting. This is the one you should probably carry forward, like this Friday spike.
Gotcha. Not
And then
yesterday's.
Well, I mean, even yesterday's was, I don't think it was, it was a quarter of a point. So not much to the odds of you opening within or above, of course, it's just a quarter point spike. And you can see that the M period did what yesterday?
It came down, kind of rejected.
So you have a higher high and a lower low.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't care too much about that one. This one, to me, is not really a spike. This, to me, right here, this piece looks like exhaustion, and then they tapped it here, and I don't see confidence in buying there just yet. If there was aggressive buying, what should you see?
Excess.
You should see something like this. Call it L period, whatever. That's making higher highs and really saying, no, we don't agree on this value. We want to go higher, and they should be building it here, right? And when you look at this, let's just make sure I remove this. So here's that. So you still spent a whole lot of time, and then you trace back a lot here, even though you're stacking right now on 50%. You're clearly framing up right now. But let's say you lose this 81, there's a pretty high chance you're going to go at least to the bottom of 64. They should have had this candle pop out of here and not really overlap too much. Shows that you're really serious about this and drive it higher. But I don't see us slowing down, honestly. If we can, especially if we open above this 87, which would be another critical gap over a critical area. The last gap that we had was also over a critical area. So I don't know if you guys paid attention, but they pumped this right here. So look at the, let me just give you, you see the gap right here? This one?
Yeah.
But this gap right here, let's just kind of draw this from here to here. Pretty convenient when you can jump over a major shelf like this, right? Overnight, and then just you continue, but there's smaller volume obviously than what you had here, and you just jumped over this. So let's see. I mean, when you see this massive node that's here, that's the one that we're calling out. So let's see what they're able to do. But this is a pretty good short here. If they, you're high risk, high reward, but this is not a bad short. So if they gap tomorrow, there's a very high chance we're going to all-time highs, and probably a little bit more. I would say these targets become triggered.
It's crazy how they reclaim it in what, 2 days?
Pretty wild, considering you had this massive down day that they recovered. I would say they recovered this pretty much in 4 hours, right? They recovered all of this in 4 hours. And then gap, recover, keep pushing. So it took 1, 2, 3 days for something that started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, right? And it seems like a lot of it was driven by overnight sessions. But I think this is a pretty good short here tonight. Is there any news that are coming out? There's a calendar.
CPI on Thursday.
Ooh. Bunch of idiots speaking. 10-year note. Oof, this one's gonna be good. Jobless claims. Oh, that should be interesting. And CPI. So is it PPI Friday? Yeah, PPI Friday. So there's some news that can cause markets to spook a little bit, but remember, government was closed. We haven't really gotten some news like this in a long time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. It's still not officially open, right?
I don't have an answer to that. I have no idea.
No, not yet.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know
Yeah,
if
as
they
far as I
voted.
heard, it hasn't. Yeah,
They
Has
do
the House voted yet?
I don't think so.
tomorrow.
Don't think so.
I thought the gap was because it reopened.
I think speculation that they will open was there.
Yeah.
Oh,
That they
okay.
agreed upon something and then it was passed by some Dems or whatever, and then they're still waiting on an official vote, I guess.
So I'm looking to see when are they voting. Guess are they doing it tonight? Oh yeah, they're doing it tonight, right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it seems like they're adding stuff and removing stuff from the bill. To me, I just fucking hate politics. You want to
I
build to
agree.
open the government, and then you add a bunch of stipulation like, oh, also you can't grow hemp while we were talking about government shutdown. Like, what
Yep.
the fuck is your problem? Like, why do you even talk about that stuff? But I guess that's politics, right?
Yep.
They all have their agenda. I'm sure it's for the best of American people.
Yep.
So do you think with what's happening right now, there's going to kind of be a big move overnight?
What's weird to me is when we announced the government shutdown, it's been shut down for what, 40 days or more. We never got a sell off for being shut down, but we were ripping because it's open. So we were gonna rip something that spends money, uncontrollably, but we were not. We should have been running when the government shut down. And you should be doing the opposite when you open it, because it's doing totally opposite to the inflation. Excess government spending is causing the inflation. In my opinion, how do you fight inflation? I don't know if any of you guys.
Lose jobs.
That's one. What's another one?
Get more money.
Is there any other?
Lower interest rates.
Okay.
Increase taxes.
Wouldn't lowering interest rates increase inflation? Genuine question.
Typically could, yes, if you're I would say, out of the hyperinflation, I don't know. But what about if you slash property taxes and people can afford homes?
Hmm.
What about, I don't know if you guys checked, but your electric bills are about to go through the roof.
Oh yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I just got I pay about $55,000 a year for family insurance for 5 of us, and I'm getting an increase of 24%.
Jesus.
Yeah, insurance is going up.
Instead of, you're talking about
Cool.
housing not being available. Okay, I understand that, but what if the supply of homes got increased where you build houses while lumber is really cheap, right? Isn't lumber down?
No, I thought it went up.
Lumber? No. There's no way.
Ooh.
There's no way.
So what's with the electricity thing? I haven't really heard much as to why. Is that just because of the whole AI thing?
No,
Like
although
that use electricity?
assumption is going towards data centers, right? Your data centers, I believe I read something. Has anyone read the McKinsey report?
No.
You guys have to start reading some stuff. I'm gonna send you guys a McKinsey report to read on AI. It is expected that we're gonna use, just to cool down AI data centers, 1.1 billion cubic meters of water every year by 2030.
It's crazy.
So just go look up the total consumption right now. And for instance, this is your lumber futures, right? So why are we not building houses now? Why were we trying to build houses here? You're not building houses when
Because they don't
it's
want prices to come down.
They're unaffordable too.
Nobody's buying.
Let me
No
ask you
one's
this:
buying.
who's been buying the houses lately?
BlackRock.
BlackRock. Oh, so me and you have to compete on cash offer with BlackRock?
Goddamn.
So why is institutional traders allowed to buy retail homes and rent them out at twice the rent to people? What works out in favor for BlackRock? How does BlackRock increase supply of homes? Let me ask you a similar question here. Let's say you bought this. I'm just saying you bought this right here, right? You bought it. You're like, I'm gonna buy it here because it's at support right here. And they're like, oops, they trigger your stop, let's say right here. What did they just do?
Manipulate.
They manipulate it because once they trigger your stop loss, they would get what?
Your liquidity, your money.
Oh, they would get the liquidity. Let me go now give you a scenario in the housing market. What I think happens, right? Let's just say that, me and RS have a house, and RS is going to lose a job. I'm not saying you will, but I'm just using that as an example. Or somebody's going to lose a job. Because somebody bought a house, right? And you bought that house for 700K at 6.5% on 30 years. And you just lost your job.
I think I know where you're going with this.
So now BlackRock is like, hey, why don't you guys cut some more people? And once you create panic, what happens when you can't pay your house mortgage?
Foreclose.
Oh, you're going to foreclose. And that means the BlackRock would buy those houses at 700K.
No
Nope.
discount.
No.
No, BlackRock is going to come in and say, hey, look, I have cash. And Shorty doesn't have this much cash. I can close in 4 days, Bank of America. I know you have liquidity issues. So I can inject 450K for that house that was 700K 6 months ago. I'm just throwing it out, right? Now multiply that. Let's say 10 million foreclosures happen. What happens to that? Is it going to be me and you that can compete to buy this, or is it going to be BlackRock institutional investors?
BlackRock.
Yeah. So I think this is just a very good plan, scheming to increase the supply of houses for people with cash. And it won't be, even if I have cash, I won't be able to compete with them. It's impossible to compete with them. In 2020, I wanted to buy a house and I would bring in cash offer and they would just throw in $80,000 on top of it. So imagine you go to an auction and you're like, man, I like that car. And you're like, 20 grand, I'll do it. And it's like you and another guy. And that other guy comes in and it's like, okay, I'll do 55. But
Wow.
you're talking about 20, so maybe 20 and a half, 2750, somewhere in that range. And the guy that's competing with is like, okay, 55,000. What do? You
Yeah.
say, sure, you can have it, right? You won. And what they don't care about, right? Because if the new builds are not happening, somebody's praying that people will lose lots of jobs and the supply of those houses will come in. And they're just being ready for it. There's a lot of cash on the sidelines.
Shorty, and entities like BlackRock, they just use debt, right? They're not liquid this crazy amount of money, really. They're so powerful because of what they've invested or whatever they're in. They have debt that they can put against that. I'm guessing, right?
Well, they do have, I would say, they do have cash, right?
No, of course, but
No.
equivalent to what they look like on paper, I'm guessing most of it is like, hey, we'll lend you, multis to whatever you actually have liquid.
Yeah, they usually, their AUM for BlackRock is like $13 trillion.
Fucking crazy.
So with $13 trillion in AUM, I mean, you own so much that they could fucking make the world collapse, and no bank is gonna fuck with them and say no. So, and their cash is usually about $12 billion a year, free cash. And they manage 1 trillion in global liquid assets.
Wild.
If you look at it here, this is BlackRock. If you think about their stock, there's their stock over 2008 from $82 to about 1,000. So I think on the 24th of this month, you guys will have a new report from the feds on delinquencies. Let me see, when is it going to be released?
I heard there was something on commercial real estate delinquencies recently. It's really higher than 2008, I heard.
So here. So here's the period, right? See how kind of similar pattern you have 2004, you have a tiny spike here, and that was just the COVID, right? And then you have that similar spike here, 241, 283, and now you're here and you're slowly inching up. You see that? You're slowly inching up. And then in a year or two, you're not just inching up, you're just exploding. I believe this one is going to be updated on. It's going to be. So here's your credit loans, all commercial banks. You can also see that, right? We're starting that piece right now. Pretty sure student loans are already through the, let's see, consumer loans. It's climbing up. So 467, we're at 277. And remember, we're not in recession. So here's your CREs. CREs are starting to increase. Nothing drastic yet, but you doubled from 2022 to now. It doubled. Let me see if I can find the full report where you guys can see the cars, the mortgages, everything. And it's a pretty good read, actually. It's easy to read. There's a lot of graphs. I'll send it over for you guys to kind of get. All right, well, let's see what we got. I would expect tomorrow if they fail at this level on ES on 87. Oh, so they shouldn't be reclaiming this right now. I would expect them to visit this POC, whatever they left behind. So that should be about 73 here. They should visit that tonight. This will be a good night, good long overnight right here. If they do something like this, you can expect that. You know, you can manage this simply right below it, right? Use as a stop loss. It will be minimal for a risk.
If we open above that sell-off POC level, what would you look for? A retest of that sell-off POC?
A retest of that, and if you're not too far from it, let's say like we're right here at 92s, and inventory would be really net long at that point, right? It would be 30 points net long. You would expect that they're going to rebalance that inventory at some point. Losing that POC will be a big deal tomorrow if they open above it. Well, obviously they tried now, but not an easy. It won't be an easy level for them to just, unless they just gap up over it tonight. Shouldn't be an easy level to hop over it. I don't know if any of you guys did I answer that question? Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if any of you guys got into Pine stock. It's done a pretty decent job so far. You know, we got it somewhere around 13, some change. This one's doing pretty well. 16.5 should be tapped tomorrow, like right here. And then ultimately 19.8, but it's up to you guys. They have a pretty good dividend yield. So, I mean, depends how you guys are playing it, right? I'm kind of playing it for long term. Their dividends is almost at 7%, so it's pretty good. It's quarterly, so I don't know if I would necessarily sell it, but the average we got is pretty solid. So I think this is a pretty good setup. Beck, I'm watching this one still. It seems like it's ready to go, but I just need a little bit more. I was hoping to get a really good entry here, a little bit cheaper. Ideally here, if I can catch it, that would be good. But nothing yet. Haven't gotten the entry on it. At ESTC, I don't know if anyone got in any of it, right? But this is almost ready to pop. So if they are able to break this level right here where they're stuck, you can also see that this is also like the value area high and it separates from the top value. So we would be catching somewhere around 120 on this one from 87s. I would probably close it as we, come here or sell some calls above this. So I will sell maybe 140s or something like that and get a signed on it. And they can have it. NOG is, I have a small position in NOG. I haven't really started yet, just small. But this is looking pretty good. If you guys look here today, we talked about it. They reclaimed that level, right? They went below it, they reclaimed it. Now we just need them to kind of hop over this 22.72, and then it's going to be a boring grind. Something like this in between a bunch of bullshit until they get to about 32. I would sell it at 32 because that would be pretty good returns. So you're talking about like 40%. ENPH started waking up today, and then I don't know how it closed. Yeah, it started doing something yesterday, and then it has a nasty candle today. Overall, right here, but the volume on this is not the scariest at this point. So we'll see what they do. Ideally, they give us this pump soon, 38, and maybe even yearly rebound 43 would be nice. All right. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think it's going to be a pretty rough day tomorrow, unless we have a early sell-off before or run before 11:30. The rest of the day is going to be shit as they prepare for the rest of the week for the news. There's a lot of uncertainty considering the government was shut down and they didn't really have data for a while.
So is it pretty typical that the day before like PPI, CPI type of days, they just chop it up?
Yep. Yeah, it's also a dealer's paradise because people start buying options and calls, right? And they jack up the IV. And when the news are released, they drop the IV, and it doesn't even matter if you're right directionally, you're going to lose money.
Thank you.
Alrighty, guys. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Thanks, Shorty.
Thank you, Shorty.
Thank you.